All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today's Monday, December 2nd, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. You can find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. We did hit the limit on our Black Friday sale, but we do have a few hours left, so I'm going to extend the sale and till midnight tonight. So if you want to get in on that, again, 75% off your first month of Active Trader. Really excited to do that and excited to have everybody joining here, and 35% off of the swing trades. 50% off courses and consulting, 25% off full time. So take advantage of that. Only a few hours left. And we got a pretty good week here ahead of us, I think. So we got jobs, so there will be some volatility to trade, hopefully. But right now, let's get into it here. So I call this a holiday hangover session. It's kind of that term that we use to describe that post-holiday kind of just gentle float higher here. Market's about to close in about 1 minute. And you can see here, we did make new all-time highs again today. There's a spider up just 17 basis points. Take a look at the heat map. A little bit soft. However, it's kind of like old times, right? SMH, big bright green here. Microsoft, Visa, Apple, Google, Meta, Tesla, Amazon, all green. Eli Lilly green, Netflix green, Broadcom, TSM, right? It's like July, right? Back to July here. And we're seeing a little bit of dispersion again, right? IWM flat. Dow, flat to negative. Spiders, flat to positive. But MAG, 7, and semis are leading. We see the triple Qs here up 1%. And we did technically make a new all-time high on the Qs. And I think that's going to be, that's going to be a new all-time closing high there as the bell is ringing right now. And we close at 5:15 and whatever they decide to stop it at there, 5:15:30 or so. But in any case, yeah, new all-time closing high. And NQ really not that far off here. So nice ascending wedge, beautiful pattern there. And again, no problems here with the market. We do have some nice, I've talked to you guys about Apple before. 1% gain there, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. And again, if this pattern starts to really push higher here, I've shown this before, but I think, there we go. Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at some serious moves here into the end of the year. So as your measured move there on Apple, it's done this before. And I mean, I know 270 seems ridiculous, but 220 seemed ridiculous back here. You know, 240 seemed ridiculous back here. And that's kind of how markets work here. If that happens, you're looking at a much higher NQ, right? So, and again, you can see essentially the same pattern there on the NQ, same pattern there on NVIDIA. By the way, NVIDIA not really rally. This is kind of, with the exception of NVIDIA, right? Everything else is up. NVIDIA flat to positive, at least in the Mag 7 space. So this is still struggling to rally post-earnings. That's the second quarter in a row they've crushed, and they've been unable to really rally. Now, there's nothing really broken with it. You did, however, fail to break out on the monthly. Again. So maybe a little bit of weakness here out of NVIDIA. Maybe the king is starting to see some money flow out. I think Microsoft and Apple are kind of the sleeping giants here. Everybody hates Microsoft. It's done nothing for almost a year. Everybody was calling for this head and shoulder top. This is slowly kind of coming back here. So I think big tech's still in a good shape. Now, that said, this week, what do you guys, you don't care about that, do you? You care about this week, right? Max move right now, I think, is 605, at least for now, unless something has changed. But I think 605 here on the spiders, you know, right in the 60, I would say 60-60 to 60-70 area on SPX is probably about max move for the week. You can even see, you know, these trend lines here that I've been following up. We're kind of just hugging that. You can see it a little bit cleaner on the spiders. It's like right, yeah, I mean, we're right into that. I do think we could see some backing and filling off of that. 5:15. There's a lot of interest there for Friday. We hit that on the first day of the week. A lot of the time when that happens, you can see a little bit of backing and filling kind of second, third, fourth, fifth day of the week. Is this anything super bearish? No, I don't think that's anything to be too concerned about. It's the month of December here. Historically, it's pretty bullish. We're in a massive up year. There's going to be a lot of end of year flow going into this market. And yes, that means Santa rally. Now, does that mean we can't pull back? No. I mean, I don't think that there's anything saying that ever. But I wouldn't look for anything more than a pullback or consolidation here. So that's kind of where we're at right now. holiday session, really quiet on Friday. I didn't even do a video, and I never do a video on Friday when it's half day, unless there's something major that happens. But even today, volume very light, which is to be expected. A little bit of a hangover session, yeah. I mean, 28 million shares. Heck, we did less volume today than we did on Friday, and Friday we were only open for 3 hours. So that gives you an idea of the sense of the market. Now we do have jobs data this week. JOLTS tomorrow. We got Powell Wednesday, ADP Wednesday, jobless claims Thursday, and then of course non-farm payroll Friday. So we do have catalysts here for possibly some downside, possibly some volatility. Volatility itself has been pretty hit, so it wouldn't surprise me to see a little bit of a bounce here as we get into the next couple of days. But again, not really looking for anything more than dead cat bounces here on vol. So 605, 515, IWM still got a little bit of a shelf here at 244, 245. Overall, you know, hammer candle inside day. You know, there's definitely some supply up here, but if this 20 MA catches up, this can go through that, and I think it wants to go to 250 ultimately. Dow's a little stretched. Was down a little bit today. Banks were kind of weak. We'll talk about that in a minute. Goldman down, Caterpillar down, and UNH down. So that's going to take the diamond down. But overall, again, no problems there. Just a down day. SMH up 2.3. Again, beautiful liquidity grab. We called this out when it happened the other day, and then right back up, and then a follow through Friday, and then boom, following through again today. So I like SMH here to play catch up into the end of the year. We might finally be getting this scenario here that I've been talking about where IGV is heavy, starts to pull back, and SMH picks back up. So that was kind of the call earlier in June, was buy IGV, sell chips. That worked out. I think the inverse can kind of happen here. I'm not saying there's a ton of risk in chips, or in cloud, but one versus the other, I would pick chips here into the end of the year. Transport's also backing off, down 42 basis points, but again, above all the moving averages, no problems. Not make a big deal out of it. Big winner on the day, obviously XRP. We'll talk about crypto later. 17% gain. Obviously getting the nod from BlackRock there. I'm sure you've all heard by now. But it's almost like they're trying to do, it almost feels like an IPO craze here. They're taking advantage of this stuff right now. But let's talk rates first. 2-year down, really the last week or so. A little bit of a bounce today. Now, what do you notice here? 30s are red. So yields are pulling back, but yet we have an inverted yield curve again. Oh no, sorry. We bounced back up. We're now positive by 8 pips. But that's the flat line right there. So, you know, we're talking about a couple months ago it was all about recession, and now it's the inflation trade is back on, which is interesting because rates are kind of pulling back, but the yield curve is close to inverting again. So macro bros, I know your heads are exploding right now. That's why we, you know, tend to discard that when the market tells us to, but you got to laugh at this stuff. 3-month 10-year still inverted, and that's pulling back too. But right now yields, I do think, let's just look at the 10s. I think this 50 will give us some support. I think yields will kind of bounce here, and that could be on jobs data, right? We're pulling back into jobs, so maybe that's what a catalyst to bounce here. Oops, there you go. Draw that arrow a little bit better. And again, is this a failed breakout? Yeah, but I mean, you still got plenty of supports. You got one here, you got a lot down here, so not the end of the world. 30 years backing into that trend line also. So I'd favor a yield bounce perhaps this week. XHB inside, technically still inside bar. No problems there on the bigger time frames. BNQ, pretty good outside move. Maybe this is anticipating a move in rates. We'll see. Down 1.5. XLF was also weak, down 1%. A little overdone, if you ask me, but it is pulling back today on a little bit of volume. KRE has been pulling back, but no damage there. KBE as well. A little shooting star there from the other day. And then broker dealer is also kind of a mini shooting star there as well. Again, this is ridiculously top heavy on the larger time frames and on borrowed time, but trend is still up. Oil here is down today, and this trend is starting to get kind of weaker. We got lower highs, equal lows. That said, seasonally, this tends to bottom in the month of December. We tend to get a pivot, and then you kind of get that chop into winter, and then that spring rally is usually what comes up. And we've been kind of on schedule here. Obviously, seasonality is not a perfect measure by any means, but it's just something to consider here, especially when we're kind of on time with all this stuff. I don't really see oil going too much lower. I wouldn't rule out a little bit more of a dip though, barring geopolitical news, of course. But there's no trade on it right now for me. I do like the energy stocks though. Even with this little pullback here, that doesn't really bother me at all, honestly. Had a really nice run from 88 to 98. It's what, like 12% in a few weeks, so it's allowed to pull back. And you're still holding the daily 20, so no problems. XOP bouncing off the daily 20, and then OIH basically flat today. So right now, this is just consolidation here on the OIH. I think that ultimately wants 330. We got CCJ gapping higher, but closing red. Still no damage there. And URNM and URNJ still kind of struggling to kind of confirm these higher lows here. So if we roll over and take this pivot out, now you've got a lower high, but we haven't done that yet. So we want to see the bulls get through these pivots here. Nat gas down, excuse me, down 4%, but kind of held that pivot. Again, big fat gap down. This is the time of the year where they're just going to play with nat gas all they want. And I think that the highs are in for now, for the foreseeable future, most likely. Dollar nicely off the lows. We talked about a bounce in this area around 105.50. We got pretty close. Good pop. Pulled back off the highs by the end of the day. This may have topped out for now, though. But again, kind of like the 10-year, right, we pulled back into some support, right? And the 10-year kind of pulling into the 50 MA. So maybe we get a bounce on jobs data there. Gold, on the other hand, down 0.75%. This is kind of detached from bonds and the dollar, at least recently. But again, we're looking for a tightening range here on gold. If we take out this pivot, then we have vulnerability down to at least 2,500. But for now, we're just looking for a tightening range. Silver a little bit weaker, right? We already have a lower low there. But overall, the big picture, we're kind of just neutral to bullish still. Especially the monthly. Just nice uptrend there. The alt metal is a little bit different. Lower low on platinum. Palladium trying for a higher low here. But you do have a mini bear inside bar there. So I need to make that fail to get a squeeze out of this. Copper I still don't like, although there does appear to be buyers at 4.1. So they've defended it again. But yeah, got to get back above 425 to have any chance at a move back to 440. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing, the upper 380s, maybe 390. So crypto we mentioned earlier, obviously XRP getting that approval, or from BlackRock, or the intention or whatever, they'll get approval. But Bitcoin here backing off. Virus did push us off the lows a little bit here, still above the 20 MA. And again, like I talked about last week, we're looking for a tightening range here, and then a push to 100K and higher. We don't have any indication that that's not the case right now. If we take this low out, then that changes. But even then, right, you don't want to fall in love with just like one thing, right? Because then we have to start looking at, are we going to do something like this? Right? Just because you make a lower high and lower low doesn't mean you can't turn into a flag. As people found out the hard way if you were fighting this move all summer long. Well, you found it out if you fought it here anyway. But yeah, ETH still seeing that kind of outperformance, like the higher highs there. Almost got to my target this morning. I still think we can get there pretty soon. 38 is kind of my target area. And then really you get through that, I think we're looking at a speed bump at 4K. And then this can really take off here. So again, alt's still kind of, alt's getting a little bit of a shot in the arm here with the XRP news. Litecoin also getting some sympathy there, as are others. But overall, no problems with the crypto space right now. A little frothy, but it can remain like that for a while. So anyways, again, right now we'll look at 605 here. If that gets hit tomorrow, I would look for jolts to maybe pull us back. Unless they really, I just don't see us having enough gas to really push through that right now, or at least sustain it. But again, we'll see if we get some backing and filling afterwards. But again, should be some volatility this week, should be some fun to trade. And we'll see what we get as we get into tomorrow. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Again, a few hours left on the Black Friday deals. Come take advantage. You can find me at carnivoretrades.com. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.